In the quaint town of Ravenswood, nestled deep within the misty hills of New England, there stood an old mansion known as Blackwood Manor. The locals whispered of its haunted history, a story so chilling that even the bravest souls shuddered at its mention. The mansion had stood for over 2 centuries, a relic of a bygone era. Its once grand facade had succumbed to the ravages of time, with ivy-covered walls and shattered windows that seemed to stare into the soul of anyone who dared look. Blackwood Manor had been abandoned for decades, ever since the night of the unspeakable tragedy that had left the entire town in a state of perpetual fear. In the early 1800s, the mansion was home to the Blackwood family, a wealthy lineage known for their opulence and influence. Lord Edgar Blackwood, the patriarch, was a stern man with a reputation for ruthlessness. He was married to Lady Margaret, a beautiful woman with a gentle soul, and together they had a daughter named Eliza, who was the light of the manor. Eliza was a spirited young woman with an insatiable curiosity and a heart full of kindness. She spent her days exploring the vast grounds of the estate, often venturing into the dense forest that surrounded the property. It was on one such excursion that she met a young artist named Thomas, who was captivated by her beauty and charm. Their love blossomed in secret, as Thomas was of humble means, and Lord Edgar would never approve of their union. The lovers' clandestine meetings continued until the fateful night of the Harvest Ball, a grand event hosted annually at Blackwood Manor. That night, as the guests reveled in the opulent ballroom, a terrible storm brewed outside. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, creating an atmosphere of tension and unease. Amidst the celebration, Eliza and Thomas slipped away to the forest, hoping to steal a few precious moments together. Unbeknownst to them, Lord Edgar had discovered their secret and followed them into the woods, his heart burning with rage and betrayal. He confronted the couple beneath an ancient oak tree, the gnarled branches swaying ominously in the wind. In a fit of uncontrollable fury, Lord Edgar drew his pistol and fired, striking Thomas down. Eliza's anguished scream pierced the night, but it was drowned out by the howling wind and crashing thunder. As Thomas lay dying in Eliza's arms, he whispered a final promise to her, that their love would transcend death, and he would wait for her beyond the veil. Heartbroken and consumed by grief, Eliza fled into the storm, disappearing into the darkness. She was never seen alive again. The next morning, the storm had passed, leaving behind a scene of devastation. The guests at the manor discovered Lord Edgar's lifeless body at the base of the oak tree, his face twisted in a grotesque expression of terror. Eliza's disappearance and the mysterious circumstances of her father's death sent shockwaves through the town, and rumors of a curse began to circulate. Over the years, Blackwood Manor fell into disrepair, and the story of Eliza and Thomas became a legend, a ghostly tale told to frighten children and deter the curious. But those who dared to enter the abandoned mansion spoke of strange occurrences, whispered voices, flickering lights, and the ghostly apparition of a young woman wandering the halls, her mournful cries echoing through the night. One such tale came from a group of teenagers who ventured into the manor on a dare. Armed with flashlights and a sense of bravado, they explored the decaying rooms, laughing nervously at their own fear. As they reached the grand staircase, a chilling draft swept through the air, extinguishing their lights. Panic set in as they fumbled in the darkness, their breath visible in the sudden cold. Then, from the shadows, a figure emerged, a pale, ethereal woman with flowing hair and a gown that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly light. Her eyes, filled with sorrow, locked onto the intruders. She raised a translucent hand, pointing towards the ballroom, and in a voice like a distant echo, she whispered, "Find him." Terrified, the teenagers fled, but not before one of them, a girl named Sarah, felt a strange compulsion to return. In the days that followed, Sarah found herself drawn back to the manor, unable to shake the feeling that she had a role to play in the tragic love story. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, casting long shadows across the estate, Sarah gathered her courage and returned to Blackwood Manor. She made her way to the ballroom, where moonlight streamed through the broken windows, illuminating the dust-covered floor. There, beneath the ancient chandelier, she saw Eliza, her ghostly form more solid than before. Eliza beckoned Sarah closer, and as their eyes met, a wave of understanding passed between them. Eliza led Sarah to a hidden door at the back of the room, revealing a narrow staircase that descended into the darkness. With each step, Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, but a sense of purpose propelled her forward. At the bottom of the stairs, they entered a forgotten cellar, its walls lined with old paintings and crumbling artifacts. In the center of the room lay a small, dusty portrait of a young man, Thomas. As Sarah picked up the portrait, a surge of energy coursed through her, and she heard Eliza's voice in her mind. "Reunite us." Determined to fulfill Eliza's final wish, Sarah took the portrait and placed it beneath the oak tree where Thomas had died. As she did, a soft glow emanated from the ground, and the spirits of Eliza and Thomas appeared before her, their forms finally at peace. They embraced, their love transcending the boundaries of life and death, and slowly faded into the night, leaving behind a sense of calm and closure. Sarah returned to the manor one last time, feeling a weight lifted from her shoulders. The mansion, once a symbol of tragedy, now stood as a testament to enduring love. The ghostly apparitions ceased, and the whispers of the past faded into the annals of history. Ravenswood continued to tell the story of Blackwood Manor, but now it was a tale of redemption and the power of love to conquer even the darkest of curses. And those who heard it felt a chill, knowing that some stories are not just tales, they are echoes of a haunting truth that lingers forever.